Coming up,
I knew it was a scam. The whole scheme was a lie.
the $4 billion scam.
How greedy am I?
The devastated families.
Now I have a child, and what's our future going to be like?
Is there anything you'd like to say to the victims, sir?
And the missing wife.
That's the part that I'm struggling with the most. I can't understand how she would be able to do that.
The sheer audacity of the fraud is mind-boggling. Thousands of investors lost billions of dollars. Their hard-earned cash, their life savings. There was no explanation, no apology. And John Bigatton, the Australian who promoted this Bitcoin scam, is still not saying a word. But this tale of deception doesn't end there. At the height of the drama, Bigatton's wife, Madeline, suddenly disappeared. Was it suicide, murder, or something more sinister? Matt Doran investigates.
3, 2, and 1!
What I want you to really think about tonight is who you really are, why you're here.
John Bigatton is a born salesman, but what he's peddling today are costly lies.
This is exactly the same as the stock market of the early days, but it's on steroids times 10.
Here he is centre stage, the Australian frontman for one of the biggest financial scams the world has ever seen.
Every Ponzi scheme has a wolf, and this one seems to have a very big wolf. In this scheme, millions of people have lost billions of dollars internationally.
Not long after this dynamic and very persuasive performance, BitConnect collapsed. $4 billion vanished overnight, wiping out the savings of thousands of Australian mum and dad investors.
Is it correct to say that that was almost everything that you had?
That was everything we had. Not almost, it was everything we had.
So thank you, folks, and enjoy your evening.
Thank you, Mr. John.
I'm going.
Tonight, we investigate John Bigatton's shadowy role
Hello, Mr. Bigatton.
in the multi-billion-dollar BitConnect swindle,
Is there anything you'd like to say to the victims, sir?
and explore a second and even more disturbing mystery: the suspicious disappearance of John Bigatton's wife, Madeline.
Her car is found abandoned here near the cliffs. Inside, police find a wedding ring and nearby her car keys. But other than that, no trace.
For the first time, Madeline Bigatton's family breaks its silence. Was it suicide?
Sorry, it's just really hard. I know she'd be horrified at all this.
Was it murder?
There was a lot of money and a lot of problems involved and death threats.
Or was it something even more nefarious? An elaborate plot to make away with millions.
You believe in your heart that there's a possibility she could still be out there?
I like to think that.
I think so. I do. Personally, I do.
Really?
I think it was just too convenient.
If you had tens of millions of dollars, anything's possible.
Hi folks, my name is John Bigatton and we're about to embark on a series of powerful cash flow generating strategies.
John Bigatton was always looking to turn a quick buck.
You can close your trades in profit or make sure that you take into account that the market may potentially gap and reduce your potential profit.
Over the years, he's tried his hand at everything: selling vitamins, running a gym, trading foreign currencies, anything that promised a big return, and fast.
All right. Exactly. So it comes to the point of, okay, how greedy am I?
Well, very greedy it seems, and it served John Bigatton well. He lived in an extravagant mansion in Sydney's south with wife Madeline and their 2 young daughters.
They had a loving relationship, you know, they had great kids, they had a nice house.
2 years ago, John Bigatton chanced upon his next big thing, BitConnect, a shady company based in India and trading in cryptocurrency. Now, it was the height of the Bitcoin boom, and Bigatton was convinced he could make a mozza. He signed up to run their Australian operation and began working his contacts for investors.
What were your initial impressions of John Bigatton?
Personable. He was bubbly.
Knowledgeable.
Would you describe him as a good salesman?
We talked about that.
I would think for the general public, they would view him as a good salesman, yeah.
Did you take your sport uniform?
Yeah, I did.
Like so many other Australians, Danny and Steve were bedazzled by the vast fortunes being made in the cryptocurrency boom of 2017. John Bigatton offered to get them in on the ground floor.
What's the road? Look both ways. And he's telling us, I'm making a lot of money. The people under me are making a lot of money. And you'll be able to quit your jobs, you'll be able to do all kinds of things. That was what was
You have more money than you can imagine.
The figures are really, really powerful. Is this showing day one of investment, $130,000, which is what you and Steve put in?
Yes.
If we scroll down here, it shows what your investment becomes day by day, correct?
Exactly.
Is that saying that your $130,000 investment would have matured to $488,750?
That would be the value of that investment of 130 on day 120.
Then if if you can stay the course and you can leave it in there for, say, a year, what would your investment have become?
$8,114,010.
$8 million?
Mm-hmm. Without raising a finger. No hard work in a year. Life changer.
If that lady was told that she would receive that money, they knew that they were lying to that lady without a shadow of a doubt.
Niall Coburn spent more than a decade as a senior investigator for ASIC, Australia's corporate watchdog. He has taken down dozens of financial scams, just like BitConnect.
Immediately in my mind, I knew it was a scam. They were offering 1% a day. That's 306% a year or 40% a month. Now, there is no scheme, no investment that I know in the world that offers that return.
This really is unbelievable. Surely the people behind BitConnect knew this wasn't on.
In my experience, the promoters of these schemes know what they're doing without a doubt. They know that investors will not be receiving their funds back. They know that those returns are unsustainable and that the whole scheme was a lie.
1, 2, 3.
But it was the promise of those eye-watering returns that led first-time investors Hilton and Talia Robinson to sign up with BitConnect.
I went on YouTube and saw other people in the same position just making money, buying cars, living the dream of having an income, a second income.
Free Lamborghinis for everyone.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. But
we wanted to buy a house, not a Lamborghini.
A house for a growing family. The couple had just had their first child. The timing felt right.
It got to the stage where you basically invested your entire savings, your deposit for a home, and you've said, we believe in this so much, we're going all in. Is that correct?
That's how I felt, yes.
That's how he felt.
Yes.
Talia was initially cautious, but Hilton had no such reservations. He poured their life savings into the scheme and more.
I started putting my whole wage in there, and the daily interest returns, we would pay our bills and mortgage and things like that.
Which he didn't tell me. He didn't tell me he was putting his whole wage in every week. I didn't know that.
I know.
So you're keeping this secret. So you're funneling your whole wage into the crypto space?
Pretty much, yeah. In my head, I was thinking, we're going to get it back in 120 days anyway.
But that never happened. On January 17 last year, BitConnect suddenly stopped trading. Millions of investors lost everything.
Yeah, I just was like, what have I done? And now I have a child. And what's our future going to be like?
What did you tell him once you realised he'd gone all in with all the savings?
That he's a f***ing idiot. Basically, yeah. And I was really thinking, like, what what have I done for my future with this decision or with this man? I'm like, why would you trust them and listen to them and not me?
I feel pretty stupid now. But at the time, I felt like it was the right decision at the time.
Sorry. Don't be silly.
It hurt. It hurt because I felt like I failed as a husband, as a provider, and as a dad.
How dark did this get for you?
Oh, dark. Really dark. Days when you can't look at yourself in the mirror and you think, God, what have I done? Or how did I become that person that threw away everything? Dark days.
Got through it.
Yeah.
Steve, one of your friends invested, and it's correct to say he's no longer with us.
That's right. It was a few days after BitConnect went down. He had committed suicide.
Next, going from anger to tears is just devastating.
The weirdest twist of all.
That's the part that I'm struggling with the most.
John Bigatton's wife suddenly disappears.
He looks pretty happy for someone who's lost a wife of 20 years.
Is there anything you'd like to say, John?
It just doesn't add up. It doesn't add up properly, you know.
The happiest place on earth. You know it, right? Or do you? Did you know you could do this or that or go here? Did you know about this? It's incredible. See what I did there? And when was the last time you felt like this or that? I mean, come on. That's basically a perfect moment.
Book your magic moment today with Hello World Travel. Stay 4 nights and enjoy a 4-day Disneyland Resort Park ticket from just $2,929 per family. Chat with us today.
No teams dared to do it until now.
Really?
It'll smash the record books.
Anything can happen.
The Chase, weekdays at 5.
Once, you couldn't shut John Bigatton up, but now you're hard-pressed to get a single word out of him.
You've been running and silent for a year, sir. This is your opportunity.
Ever since the collapse of BitConnect, he's refused to speak to any of his investors, even those who counted him as a friend.
We didn't get a sorry guys or God, you must be feeling awful or I feel for you or anything like that.
So just to clarify, there wasn't even the courtesy of one I'm sorry text?
Nope.
No, nothing.
Not a phone call?
Nothing like that.
No, not even a phone call. Not even a text.
Not at all.
Text I can live with. Phone call, nothing.
But this is a guy that you would regularly have dinner with, that you would have regular phone conversations with, that nursed you through the process of giving your life savings, and then nothing since.
Nothing.
No.
Not a single word.
Completely stonewalled.
Is there anything you'd like to say, John? Nothing you'd like to say at all? It's here on the coast of Kurnell, south of Sydney, that the story of the Australian connection to this multi-billion-dollar global scam takes a really dark turn. Almost a year ago, John Bigatton's wife, Madeline, goes missing and her car is abandoned here near the cliffs. Even now, the family remains divided. Was this suicide? Could Madeline still be alive? Or was there something more sinister?
It's way too hard. We're all sort of very emotional, as you can imagine, about this. Going from anger to tears is just devastating.
At around 11:30 on the morning she vanished, Madeline Bigatton got into her car with a beach bag. With her was her youngest daughter. This is the last known photo of Madeline, captured on CCTV near their home. Madeline dropped her daughter off at a friend's house. Some hours later, she sent a message to John telling him to feed their dog. Madeline didn't return home that night. Her car was found in the parking lot at Kurnell. Her wedding ring was left inside, her keys tossed a few metres away. Beyond that, nothing.
It must be extraordinarily hard for you, Scott, actually being back here. This is the first time you've been here since Madeline vanished.
Madeline's family isn't convinced it was suicide. Madeline was a survivor. She'd beaten breast cancer twice and she lived for her daughters.
It doesn't add up, you know. It doesn't take a genius to think it doesn't add up properly, you know.
And so I know this is a really difficult question then, Scott, but if it doesn't add up, is foul play, is murder a possibility in your mind?
It's come across my mind. That's all I can say, you know. I think it's come across all of our minds.
She was a devout Catholic, so that puts doubt in my mind. Her religion was very important to her, as were her children. So that actually, you know, that's the part that I'm struggling with the most. I can't understand how she would be able to do that, knowing that's what would happen, that her kids would suffer, that she's going against everything she believed in.
What are your other options? That she's still out there, or that this was foul play?
I'm not going to comment about that.
Just days after Madeline's disappearance, John Bigatton posted this cheery selfie to Facebook. He seemed to be getting on with life, telling friends his wife probably committed suicide.
He looks pretty happy for someone who's lost a doting wife of 20 years. They were together since university days, so it's been a long relationship. And if you just lost your wife in such a horrific fashion, basically on the back of something you'd caused, which if BitConnect going down was the cause of it, he looks pretty happy he's caused her demise.
Some of the many investors duped by John Bigatton believe Madeline staged her disappearance. This wasn't a suicide, it was a money grab.
Personally, that's what I think. It just seemed to me that it'd be a good, convenient story to be able to get the money out, his wife out of the country.
Sinister as it sounds, that's where my head went in the whole scenario, straight away. I didn't believe it for 1 second.
John, can I ask you, please, about your wife? I know it's been a long time. Is there any update on the investigation?
It's a year since Madeline Bigatton disappeared, and John Bigatton has scarcely skipped a beat. He's still living in the family home where he's raising the couple's 2 daughters. And he's even working for a small finance company called Wealth Synergy.
Mr. Bigatton, there's a lot of families across Australia who want answers. What can you tell us? Well, it's been a year of silence for the victims. It continues. He had the opportunity there after 12 months to at least apologise. We didn't get that. John Bigatton, the Australian director of BitConnect, still with nothing to say.
John Bigatton may not answer our questions, but he'll have to answer ASIC's. Australia's corporate watchdog is investigating the company's collapse and all those missing billions.
The problem for investors who would right now be watching with their hearts in their mouths is that cryptocurrency is extraordinarily difficult to trace.
No one knows where that has gone. We're still, you know, there's investigations underfoot in the UK, the US, Australia. There's no way we can yet really understand where that money has gone, except that once it does go, in my experience, it's funneled through offshore jurisdictions, and it's very hard then to on-trace those accounts.
Okay, ready? Go.
Realistically, it's unlikely that any investors will see their funds again.
Good.
For the investors, it's a case, or it should be a case, of once bitten, twice shy.
Eat it.
People make mistakes, and it is just money. At least we have our health, and that's the main thing.
And
but if it happens again, then I won't be so kind.
No.
Well, on that point, are you still investing in cryptocurrency?
I am, yes.
Talia?
He didn't tell me that.
Do I need to give you to a moment?
No. It's nothing like I put my whole wages in. It's just spare change.
Why would you? What's spare change? We don't have spare change to be throwing around, so why would you even bother putting it? Like, it's just stupid. Are you putting more money in there, like from your wages now?
We've got someone who's running around and gets off scot-free.
It's not over yet.
He should brace for a fight, you think?
Well, I'll still be fighting.
And the people
haven't
that
given up.
lost, we haven't forgotten.
I'm not expecting to get any money back, but the long arm of the law, hopefully, he'll pay his dues somewhere down the line, I hope.
Promise me no more BitConnect, Bitcoin.
No more anything.
And as usual, you will find more about tonight's stories on our website and Facebook page. Stay on 7 now. I'm Melissa Doyle. Thank you for making us part of your Sunday night.